I'm assuming you clicked on this video because you need a little pick me up or some motivation to keep going and pursuing your small business or your passions. And I'm so glad that you're here. Hi, my name is Jane. I run a small business called Ornamental Goods, selling these phone straps that I hand make. And I felt so compelled to make this video because honestly, I'm that person that needs to hear what I'm trying to say. First of all, I have been feeling very unmotivated lately just because I started a new job. And normally I have a video ready to go on YouTube or for YouTube at least before the day that I post it on Wednesday, which is today. And I honestly don't have that. And so I figured that I would make this impromptu, unscripted video of what you should do or what I think you should do or what I think I should do in this season of unmotivation. So this isn't the first time that I didn't have a video ready. I actually went live the last time I had no video. And so I really just felt like giving up. I'm not going to lie. I'm just like, I'm not good at this. I clearly don't have my shit together. And honestly, I feel like those thoughts are very normal, especially when you're getting to a point where you're pushing the wheel or pushing the momentum forward and you're not seeing the progress as fast as you'd like. I admit that it's been really tough for me to kind of feel motivated to keep creating content when the needle's not moving very far, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys might feel the same. And if you do, this video is for you. So one of the first things that I plan on doing and that I think will really help is remembering your why. Why did you even get into what you're doing? Why did you start your small business, your passions, whatever it may be? Because sometimes I feel like sometimes we forget. I forget why I even did this. And to me, sometimes it feels easier to give up than to continue pursuing my why, right? Like it's so easy to just spend our time doom scrolling on social media or binging on our favorite TV shows. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. No shade to people who want to spend their time doing that. But there's a time and place for that too, right? Like, here's the thing. It's not easy. It's not easy to pursue your dreams, your small business ventures, your passions when you're also working another 40-hour job or whatever else. If you have kids and you have to care for your kids, like there's so many different factors into why it can be so difficult to pursue our dreams and to stay motivated. And that's going to be a part of it, right? Like honestly, if it was so easy to pursue your passions and your dreams and your businesses, then everybody would be doing it. But the thing is not everybody can pass that hump of unmotivation, right? Like our bodies, our brains are designed to keep us safe. So once we kind of get into that unknown territory, right? Like we're pushing the needle. We're trying to push the needle forward and we don't see it yet. We don't see it moving. Then our brain automatically kind of puts us in this place of like, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. Like there's no certainty. Let's just go back to what we know. Right? And even though what we know may not be the best for us or may not even truly be what we want, a lot of us kind of fall back into our old patterns because it's safe, it's known. We know what the outcome is going to be, even if the outcome is not really the greatest outcome, right? And sometimes, like I have to remind myself that, it's my brain playing tricks on me. It just wants to go back to what it knows because that's where we're safe. But in order to change your life, in order to change your circumstances, whatever your why is. Because for me, my why is I just want to help others and provide the solutions that I've found for myself for other people who might find it helpful, because that's what I would rather do with my time. I'm not young. I'm middle aged, as I have just recently realized. And so I have spent a lot of time not pursuing my dreams and not using my time in a way that I can honestly say I'm proud of. And I'm so glad that I recognize that now, and it's, never too late. And even though I wasn't conscious of this back then, I am now. And I'm trying to give myself grace in this period of time. So that's like another thing that I hope you guys do if you are feeling unmotivated, is to give yourself grace. These periods of time, I feel like, come in seasons. We're not always going to be motivated. We're not always going to be go, go, go. And if you are, then my hat's off to you, because I know that as a human being, we get burnt out. And so if you are in that phase right now, don't beat yourself up. Don't try to be like, oh, I was doing so well in the beginning, or whatever the case may be, like comparing yourself to a season of time that you were maybe performing better. Like, don't try not to like delve too deep into that, because it's not productive. It's not true. And that just means that if you were performing good at one season, that just means that you can have an even better season. But just right now, it's just not one of those seasons, And so when you remember why you do what you do and continue to just try to improve, then, you just got to let it kind of ride out, because I feel like that's really hard to admit, right? That like, okay, maybe we're not doing too well right now. A lot of people don't take that very lightly. A lot of people don't want to accept that maybe they're not in their best season. But the sooner that you can accept that, and the sooner that you can use that to propel you to invoke change or to figure out something else that you could do to adapt, right? Because that's the biggest thing about pursuing your passions, or your, going for what you want, is that it's not going to be a linear way there, right? I don't know anybody who has pursued their dreams and said, oh yeah, I just did step A, B, C, and here I am now. Like, no, there are so many different steps. There's so many obstacles that get in the way. And anyone that tells you otherwise, I'm sorry, but I find that very, very hard to believe. It's part of the journey. And there's no like straight shot there. Maybe there's like some overnight successes or whatever that, are very, very, very few and far in between. But for the most part, even those overnight sensations that you see, there was so much that went into it leading up to that moment, right? And so I feel like a lot of times, and I do feel that social media has gotten better at showing all sides of the story, whereas before I feel like a lot of it was just highlights, and we didn't really get to see the trials and tribulations to get to the level of success of the people that we see in positions that we want to be in, right? Like, this is why I love listening to podcasts. This is why I love learning about other people's stories, because you learn so much about the journeys that people have had. And I feel like the juice is just that much sweeter when you've worked for it, And so, if you're going through a period of time right now that is just difficult and you feel like giving up, like if you could just push through a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you find yourself in a whole new place or just squeezing a whole new flavor, uh, it's gonna be so worth it. On the same token, if you really just feel like you can't do it anymore, don't judge yourself for that either, because honestly, if you are willing to give up on whatever dream it is that you have, then maybe that's not the right dream for you right now. Not saying that, you can't ever pursue it again in the future, but if it's not serving you in this moment, then maybe it is time to find something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's never too late. I feel like we're constantly feeling like we're running out of time. And although we have a limited amount of time here on earth, at the same time, it's never too late to pursue something else or to try again, right? Like maybe an old dream is like kind of poking at your heartstrings and you're like, you're thinking about it or whatever. And if you feel like, you don't find joy in what you're currently committed to or pursuing, then maybe it's a good idea to like look into something else. And that might be a taboo thing to say because we're all about, staying committed and sticking it out through the end. But again, if we're doing this to find joy and it's not giving you joy, maybe it's time to just give it a little break. And then I think another thing too, something that I also need help on, is to reach out for help if you feel that you're drowning, or if you feel like, maybe you just need another energy to just like change it up a bit, right? To maybe get you fired up again, or just someone to vent to about like your struggles. You never know what somebody else can uncover when you share your challenges with someone else. Like they don't even necessarily have to be like in it, you know what I mean? Like it can even just be a friend or someone close to you that may give you a different perspective that you never knew, right? I feel like a lot of us who are pursuing something so dear to us, we tend to be guarded about our failures. Like some people don't want to share. I don't even want to call it a failure, but like some people don't want to share their challenges because it may seem, like we're failing, but it's not so much that you're failing. It's just, maybe what you're doing just isn't working out. On the flip side, I also wouldn't keep harping on the negative, right? Because I do believe that there's a lot of weight. I feel like there is a lot of weight in your words. And so if you're constantly like complaining and only recognizing the negatives, I feel like that can also work against you, right? Like if you keep thinking like, oh, I don't have any sales, or oh, no one's buying my product, like instead of taking that time to vent, like I do think that there needs to be a release at some point, right? Like if you need to release it to someone, then you should, but don't stay there for too long. Get it out so that, it's like what do you call that? Like a teapot that it boils and then it starts to do the free, it whizzes or whatever. I don't know where I'm getting these analogies from. Bear with me. But when it starts to hiss, that's your trigger, or that's like your sign to turn down the heat, right? To turn it off. And it's like if you've been boiling with all these issues, like you could scream from the top of your lungs at the peak of your boiledness. I don't even know if that's a word. But then turn the heat down, right? Like once you've put it out there and you've been able to vocalize it to whoever or to whomever, then dial it down and use that fuel, that heat, that fire to provoke change, right? Like, okay, so now that you've recognized all the things that you're upset about, no one's watching my videos, no one is doing this or that, then figure out, okay, well, how can I get people to watch my videos? How can I get more people to buy my product? How can I get more people interested in, you know, what I do or what I sell? Because at the end of it all, it's always got to be about the audience, right? I mean, I don't know. Everybody has their own reasons, but for me personally, like, I really do all of this because I just genuinely want to help people. Even this YouTube, right? Like, I made this selfishly for myself because, like I said, I am really in a very not motivated place. But then I thought about, like, okay, well, if I'm already thinking about how can I get myself out of this rut, I might as well share it with all of you. all however many of you. I don't even know how many people are following me on here, but let me just plug in that I'm very grateful if you are following me. But really, like, even if it just helps one person, then I feel fulfilled in that, right? So, like, going back to my point of whatever will fulfill you, you should always go back to that. I feel like I went on a tangent there, but I'm going to try to leave this as unedited as possible. It is now 7:40. I have been filming since 7 o'clock, trying to redo this take over and over again. But I hope that this was helpful for someone out there. And again, I commend you for getting your gifts out into the world. It's not an easy thing. And we are so lucky to have you share your gifts. So keep at it. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck. It is Valentine's Day today. And so I hope that you do something nice for yourself and for your loved ones and for your customers, whatever that may be. I just hope that you continue to push forward and continue to be the gift to the world that you are. So that is it for today. If you guys like this, if you like this more kind of casual podcast type content, let me know in the comments below if you made it all the way to the end so that I can personally thank you in the comments, and let me know like what you're pursuing, what business you're doing, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Bye.